Welcome to module 17 of object oriented analysis and design. In the last module, we have discussed about techniques of classification and identification of key abstraction for actually bringing a system specification into a concrete design. We have talked about certain examples and outlined an approach. From this module, actually we will continue this current exercise over a number of modules. We will start in this module and continue over the next couple of modules. Here our objective is to take the leave management system exercise and actually try to apply all the different techniques, principles, measures that we have talked about so far. Try to apply them maybe in a small scale and see how they help us get to a object oriented design of the leave management system. So, from this point onwards, it will be more an exploratory exercise. So, you will also have to, as you listen to this lecture, it will be good to have the leave management system exercise specification handy. We had uploaded that earlier, and there was a video where two of our TAs, Tony and Srijani, interacted as perceived customer and vendor to talk about the leave management system. So, before you go through these modules, please revise on that specification and the video and keep those handy with you, and also keep some worksheet alongside, so that you could at times pause the lecture and try to work out things by yourself. What since even though leave management system is a small problem, you will find that it is quite big to be covered in full in terms of this lecture. So, I will just try to work out the representative parts and leave the rest of the details for you to go through. So, with this we will start off with the module. The outline for this particular one would be to start with the English description of LMS and try to identify classes. That is the first thing that needs to be done. So, this module will focus on identification of classes. Naturally, broadly I specify the input output that we are trying to achieve. The input therefore of this exercise is informal English description, the leave management system description, and the output would be classes associated with that. If in the process we can identify some attributes, some responsibilities, we will try to do that. So, this is what is our input. Now, this is if you refer, please refer to the PDF LMS document at this stage, and you will find this is directly lifted from that document. So, it talks about the basic system. There is a company which wants to manage attendance, leave of its employees, and it starts saying that the company has 3 categories of employees and so on. So, certainly in this space I cannot copy the whole, I do not need to also copy the whole specification as given in those 2 pages. You can always refer to that. That is what we are talking about as the informal description to get started with, and please always supplement that with the discussions that Tony and Srijani had been doing for this. So, the first task that we will do, first attempt that we will take is taking this English description, we will try to identify, we will try to extract nouns. So, this is an approach specifically used for textual description or interactive notes, is called a linguistic analysis. That is, you basically try to parse the description in terms of parts of speech, and then based on the parts of speech you try to identify concepts, and then you start relating them. So, if we are talking about the noun being the major part of speech, then our approach would be to identify nouns, which is the easiest to identify, and then in the process we would like to eliminate irrelevant terms, and you will find a lot of nouns which basically does not have a sense in this whole thing. We will try to identify, eliminate the names of values, they may not give us classes. will eliminate vague terms, but we will certainly try to focus on identifying which nouns are representing attributes, operations, so that they can be grouped into in terms of classes and so on. And we may also eliminate the certain nouns which represent relationships and take them up when we are actually talking about relationships. So, let us get ahead with this exercise. I am again reproducing the beginning of the document, and now you can see that in this I have highlighted certain words in red. Now, these words, as you can see, the company, let me make the pen tip as blue now. So, the company is certainly a noun. If you keep reading, wants to manage the attendance is a noun, and leave is a noun, office employees is a noun. Through LMS, LMS also is a noun, but we have not highlighted here. I have not highlighted here because it is obviously an irrelevant term so far as the nouns or classes of the domain are concerned. Requirement specification is a noun, but again we have not picking it up because that is an irrelevant term. But company we have already identified, employee we have already identified, employee. Then we find a next noun in terms of individual contributor. We find a noun in lead, we found a noun in manager, and so on. So, that is a relatively straightforward process that you can do, but of course, you will have to keep on applying your intelligence, common sense and the domain sensitivity to see what could be nouns and what may not be nouns. So, if we move forward, this is as it continues. The company has provisions for the following categories of leave. These have already been identified as nouns. So, we already know that, but then it comes with a noun which is leave rules. So, we still do not know whether leave rules are a relevant term or less relevant term or irrelevant term, but we need to mark that. The casual leave, which is short named as CL. So, I am just using the CL as a noun. Then you find several nouns coming here: calendar year, employee had come earlier, year, then we get absence, we get holidays, we get types of leave, we get pre-approval. These are according to part of speech, these are all nouns. So, the basic exercise is to actually go through this and keep on identifying the nouns. So, I would not proceed further. I would suggest that at this point you pause the lecture and take your time off to go back to the document and identify all the nouns in the document. Presuming that you have already taken the break, you have identified the nouns, then more or less you should get this set of nouns. I am saying more or less because there is always some possibilities of interpretation, some possibilities of missing out items, but these are the typical nouns you will get. And you can see that well, this exercise just by itself may not be helping us a lot, because you can just count how many we have: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 13 rows, 12 full rows. So, 4 in each, 48, and last one we have in this exercise itself we have identified 49 rounds. So, we will have to see that how far have we actually understood about the system by doing this exercise. So, what I will continue to do is I introduced you to the different quality check parameters. So, off and on we will go back to that and just do a quick check. Basic metrics: coupling, cohesion, sufficiency, completeness and primitiveness. What do we know? In terms of coupling and cohesion, we have very low coupling cohesion. We just do not really know which is related to what and whether these nouns are coherent ones, these are how they are really coupled and so on. So, we have very low information about that, and regarding sufficiency, completeness and primitiveness we are absolutely unclear. So, the next step in the design process we pick up in terms of the what we learnt in the earlier module, that we will try to identify the attributes out of these nouns, because an attribute is expected to be a noun, and we will perform some structural clustering to see if we can group these concepts better. So, let me take you to that. So, here on top again you have the set of nouns that as we have extracted, and let us look at what could be an attribute. So, what is the characteristic of an attribute? The characteristic of an attribute is it should typically be a noun which is used only as a value. That is, an attribute does not have a behavior, attribute does not have its other attributes or operations and so on. So, but it is something concrete. So, you will expect it to appear as a noun, but not have anything other than a value. So, if we look at some, say, let us say if we look at say leave, or if we look at say contributor, if we look at a manager, we will typically know that these cannot be attributes, because we have seen, please go back to the LMS document very frequently, because if you see through that document, you will find that manager does this, contributor works, leave is approved, leave is regretted. So, all these kinds of, so there are several actions associated with these. But if we look at say the salary, or if we look at designation, if we look at personal details, login ID, so on so forth. If we look into these, and there are some more like employee code. If we look into these are nouns which are just used as values. So, we can go through that and say that these will be the attributes. So, we are just trying to do a basic process of classification, okay, using this property. So, this is also a kind of, this is a kind of structural clustering only that we are doing, using the property that we expect nouns to be treated as values to be attributes. We have tried to get the attributes out. So, we can say that these are the attributes that we can get to see right now. Then you can do a more organized structured clustering by trying to kind of go in kind of a discovery mode and say that, okay, do we see people in this? Like, since this is a moderately generic domain, this is not a very technical domain like aircraft model or a very specific domain model. So, we will try to throw in some concepts and see that do we have clusters here which share the properties of that concept. So, people, let us look at what could be people, and certainly we can find out managers, employees, executive, lead, these are all people, because they will have the ability to act, take decisions and so on. And we also get something like a sysadmin. Here I have kept these two in little bit two different buckets, because the specification says that sysadmin is a batch. So, we are really not sure that sysadmin in one sense is can be a people, that is there could be a physical person and therefore, the person can act, but it could also be an automated process which could act. So, kind of we will put them in people, but just try to remember that, okay, somewhere it said that sysadmin is a batch. If we look at organization, we get company, that is pretty straightforward. Then one certainly main thing to cluster structurally are things. So, we get a whole lot of them, the different kinds of documents like parenthood certificate, medical certificate. These are certainly different things or documents that we can get. So, in the whole system. If we proceed in doing structural clustering, one kind of clusters that often happen in the system are known as event, where something is going to take place. Usually events have a temporal sense, events have a beginning and end, events have a sense of activation, and certain side effects and so on. So, that is typically an event. So, let us look for other events, the certain things happening, and we find that plenty of them are here. For example, leave is an event, is an event where an employee is will be absent from attendance in the company, it starts at a certain point, ends at a certain point and so on. Similarly, all of these different types of leave as discussed, all these are kind of events. So, is a holiday. Holiday is an event because that is a designated day on which the company does not work as a whole. So, several these kind of events, including disciplinary action is an event, because certain things specifically is done. So, we can say that events tell us that these are the possible clusters that may be present here. Then certain things emerge from what you get to read. If you go back to the annotated document that you have created by marking the nouns, you will find that the word the nouns like week, year, particularly days, month, they occur, not only they exist, but they occur very frequently. So, there is a dominant presence for them, and we can easily identify that they are structurally similar, because all of them talk about time. So, we can say that these are the temporal. So, here I create a group which is kind of the temporal nouns. Then there are a lot of incidental nouns like leave rules, administrative functions, period of time. So, you really have to go back to the document again and proceed further, work on the refinements to understand whether they are concepts, nouns for concepts, or they are just incidentally came in providing the description. So, given this, these are the concepts that abstractions that we have been able to identify through structural clustering. And let us quickly do a quality check. Obviously, we have improved somewhat in terms of cohesion and coupling, because cohesion, because we have been able to group, we knew nothing almost about all these concepts that came up as nouns, and now we have been able to group them into some 7-8 broad classes. So, those classes I can say are coherent, and in terms of, so if they are coherent, they are similar by property. So, there is certain amount of coupling that is coming up, but certainly we have not made any progress in terms of the other metric parameters, and we will go ahead and do the next, which is the behavioral clustering. In terms of the behavioral clustering, the main approach is to look for dominant behaviors, and one way to look for dominant behavior is to look for what happens in the system, what takes place in the system. So, we will see in subsequent modules that there will be more of discovery of behavior through identification of verbs and adverbs and so on. But having read this specification by now for 3-4 times, I presume, because if you have sincerely done the noun extraction and are trying to do the structural clustering, then you would have got a sense of certain thing taking place in the system, which is leave, various kinds of leaves. This is a leave management system. So, certainly that is a leave behavior is kind of a dominant concept that will exist, and that is coming out and proliferating through a variety of different leave types. The other that you look for typically in a behavioral clustering is, do you find initiators and participants, that is in terms of a behavior, we say this is an initiator, which in terms of the final model will turn out to be clients, and participants are kind of servers or just passive participants. Do we find that those kind of behavior? And if you look and go through the specification again through these expectations, through these classes, you will find very well defined initiators like lead, manager, sysadmin, who are frequently talking about doing something in the system. Initiator is who does something in the system, who is responsible for starting some activity, action in the system. And you also find a lot of participants like executive, lead and manager again, because if the lead is approving or regretting the leave application of an executive, then the executive is a participant in the whole thing. Of course, I mean these are not exhaustive. I would suggest strongly that you go through the document and try to identify more of the actions that are taking place in the system and more of the initiators, participants in the system, and make the list more big. Now, having done this, then we can summarize the abstractions that we have found from the simple linguistic analysis, which has been based only on nouns. We will do more of that later, and we can say that we have the key abstractions now. We can identify the key abstractions as something like leave, employee, casual leave, earned leave, and so on, and they do satisfy the requirements of the key abstraction we had specified earlier. That is, they come directly from the vocabulary of the domain. They are dominant concepts in the fact that they are repeatedly talked of in the specification. They are involved in a major part of the activities that are proposed in the system, and so on. So, looking into these symptoms, I propose that we accept leave, employ these as key abstractions. And there are few others which are supporting abstractions, non-key kind of medical certificate. If there is a if lady employee needs to go for maternity leave, she needs to produce a medical certificate. So, that is an abstraction, but that is kind of a non-key abstraction, because we do not find many references of medical certificate. We do find another reference in terms of sick leave, but we do not find too many of them. So, we probably would not like to put it as a key abstraction, and that is a judgment choice. I mean, maybe some of you would like to make it a key abstraction, but probably I will not make it at this stage. Certain abstractions are also found in terms of structural and behavioral clustering is incidental abstractions, kind of administrative function, leave status, and so on. So, we are kind of putting them on the sideline, because we really have to go through the document more. We really have to go through the video more to understand that if they are critical for the LMS system, or they have just occurred in the specification, because when you talk about the activities in certain context, the related subsidiary tertiary activities also get talked of. For example, one that we will talk of in terms of the next module is the fact that does employees work, because we know if they are employees we should work, and work related abstractions, are they in any way important here? We will talk about that. So, these are kind of incidental abstractions which are of that similar type, and of course, we have identified a set of, this is not exhaustive, this is just indicative. We have started identifying a set of property abstractions or attribute abstractions in the whole thing. And mind you, this whole thing is kind of little bit structured than completely going wild by saying that you pick up the vocabulary of the problem domain and start making them clustering them. We have taken it a little bit more organized approach in terms of doing a linguistic analysis, which also is a very powerful tool, and just with the noun analysis, this is what we have been able to achieve. And if we re-evaluate ourselves as to where do we stand right now, we find that coupling is still low, but cohesion of course has been improving, because we not only have been able to group in terms of structural and conceptual similarity, but we have also applied more considerations to identify what are the key abstractions, what are supporting abstractions, what are incidental, and so on and so forth. The sufficiency is absolutely unclear as yet. Completeness, of course, you have no sense of completeness, but some very low sense of completeness is coming to forth, because now you have at least some confidence to say that, well, of the different concepts that you have identified through these nouns, may not be 100% complete, but they must form about 90% of the basic concept that exists. You do not still know whether those concepts should be used in that form itself, whether the abstractions need refinement, how they will be organized on hierarchies, and so on, but you have some sense of the fact that it is not these 49 nouns, and maybe you have some more, maybe around 50 odd nouns is kind of the domain within which we will have to define our system. And as we have done that, then we have started seeing that certain things are key, certain are less key. So, we have also some early sense of primitiveness coming in as to what are the concepts that are completely on their own and what are the concepts which are defined in terms of the others. So, given this we can take the last step given this. So, you can see that I have shown at 3 stages of acting, starting with the extraction of nouns. As we go and apply some more considerations, revisit and refine the quality, the whole purpose of this refinement is to keep on improving the quality metrics, and which we are being able to do. And at the objective of this particular module, we want to end with deciding on the classes. So, of these key abstractions and the supporting ones, let us at least initially agree that all the key abstractions initially would be formed as classes. So, if we put the key abstractions, so this I say is the resultant identified classes. So, we have the manager, lead, executive, employee, these kind of ones. We have leave and all different types of leave. We also have sysadmin, and we have the central company, the organization on which. So, this is what from the particularly from behavioral clustering and from identification of key abstraction, where we have tried to make an assessment on the density and importance of activities that different abstractions do. Based on these, we propose that this could be at least our initial choice of classes that we make for the LMS system. So, this brings us to the end of this current module, but as I had specified at the beginning, this will be an ongoing process of doing this exercise of finding more classes, their relationships, their hierarchy, and the objects and the different operations, and we will continue in the next module in terms of that.